Alright, so this is Chris Higbee. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for HireVue, and just talking with Ernst here about the HireVue product, and we'll walk you through a little bit of the HireVue system and how businesses derive value from it. Let's log in here. Okay, so the first place that you come to when you come into the HireVue system is this dashboard, where you have a calendar of all of your events, past interviews, for instance, any future interviews that are scheduled. You also have a dashboard of your active interviews that are available to you. So these are your most recent activities that you, as a recruiter, specifically run. And then you also see your recently recorded or pending interviews. Okay, so the whole purpose of this is just to give the recruiter just the information they need to do their work. From here, though, they can go into the interview manager, which gives them a little deeper perspective into their candidates. For instance, they could search for, let's say, John Peterson. And from there, they can go into a specific position, and here we have John Peterson as a candidate. Now this is really the killer app of HireVue. This is the evaluator where the recruiters, the hiring managers, everyone on the hiring team is able to come into the system, review a candidate in one place, provide their feedback, ratings, everything about that candidate all in one place, so that you're reducing the time to hire by making sure that everyone has an opportunity to provide feedback in a timely manner. But you're also able to review each of the candidates' video interviews very quickly with their initial responses. So this is an example of what we call a virtual interview, where the candidate is responding to a question. So there wasn't an interviewer on the other side of the camera talking to him. He's actually responding to a handful of these questions. These are typically used more as a screening tool, so earlier in the hiring process. So you may have 10 or 15 candidates do a virtual interview, narrow that down to 5 to 7 that might do a live video interview, and then from there determine your 1 or 2 that you might want to still fly in for a live interview. But I can just quickly navigate through John's questions and see his responses. I can see everybody's comments, their ratings for him as well. But what really differentiates us from the rest is our ability to use this navigation to say, all right, I like John's response to question 2, but let me go see what Jennifer's response to question 2 is as well. So I can just use these navigation arrows to go right down to Jennifer's response and see what she has to say. Okay, so I can just navigate very easily through the system that way. And the other thing that I want to show you is when I create an interview, when I set it up, I actually can determine whether it's a virtual one-way or a live two-way type interview. I can select from a set of questions that have been defined previously by me or by someone else in the HR department, give it a title. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I want to just be a process engineer. I can add an intro video that tells the person about the company, about the job, a closing video that thanks them for coming. Once that's done, then I can add questions. So here are the 2 questions that were added as part of the template, but if I want to add more questions, I can go in and add those. Okay. Once I'm done with the questions, I can add candidates. Where at this point, because it's a live interview, I need to add their first, last name, their email address. If the customer wants us to ship a webcam to the candidate, we'll do that. So we would need their address as well. And then we determine date and time for that interview. And then I can add interview participants to this as well. So I could either add a brand new person by just typing their name in, or I can add them by selecting their names here as well.
What's an interview participant?
An interview participant would be, for instance, if you want to have a panel type interview where you would have 3 or more interviewers talking to a candidate, you can do all of that through the HireVue system. Okay, so that's what that live interview basically is. So that's essentially how you set it up. But at a high level, that's the HireVue system in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Chris.